Hello, hello there, my crafty friends. It is Candy here from sweetstamper.com, and I'm so happy to be with you here today. It's Tuesday, and that means it is Teach Me Tuesday, and we are going to play with color today. I think we're going to have a great time, a little bit unstructured, which is kind of my favorite way to do things. And we are just going to be playing with this awesome bundle, and this is called Flowering Rain Boots. It is in our mini catalog, and it's actually the subject of my Cards with a Twist class this month. So this is my monthly class by mail. Features 8 cards, and I just released it yesterday for registration. So I kind of had this on my mind and in my brain. So I wanted to show you another way to use the stamp set and the dies. So I'm using some of the same elements that I used in this class. Hi, Simone. I'm glad you're joining me. But then we're going to add a bunch more colors. So in this class by mail, and again, this is my Cards with a Twist class by mail for April. I pre-released it yesterday because I'm having people pre-order. I'm going to get it out the door that first week in April. The paper brings a lot of color in this one. And so in this class, I give you 12 sheets of this beautiful designer series paper that was part of Celebration. Well, this is no longer available. So this is a special gift that's part of the class. So I want to show you some ways that you could inject a lot of color to this bundle without using, well, we're going to use designer series paper, but we're going to use a real neutral one. So let me show you. Let me get my, my laptop going here, and so I can see your comments a little bit better. Hey, Dudley and Laura, I'm glad you have joined me. So it's kind of all about spring here, and in much of the world. I know I'm getting a little bit of a glare here. So let me just go over this really quick, and then I'm going to show you where we're going to go. I've got dies kind of flying everywhere. I typically put a magnet sheet in here, and I haven't even done that yet. Not all the dies are in here. Oh, yeah, they are. Because I've already done some of the die cutting beforehand. This is really a cool element right here. And let me just show you. I think you could do some almost like lattice work. This is what I did for my class. I actually used a, what do you call it, adhesive sheet, and use some of the new blue foils paper to give just a really nice accent. So you can do these in multiples, you can cut them up, all kinds of fun things. So that's really kind of a cool element in this bundle. The stamps are they're distinctive. So that means that you get all of this shading just with, one color, one ink. And that's really a neat element of this stamp set. Okay. So let me show you what else I'm going to use. I am going to use designer series paper, but this is what I'm going to use. So this is In Good Taste. It's a really unique set of designer series papers because you get double the sheets. So I think there's like 24 sheets instead of 12, but it's only $21. So it's not 24 or, yeah, it's not like, well, 20, yeah. Anyway, it's a couple of dollars off than if you had bought two packages separately. I'm going to use this piece right here that has kind of this blue palette knife look to it. But these make gorgeous, gorgeous backgrounds. And so, again, I was kind of playing with this for another class and thought, okay, that's what we're going to use here. Let me get my little basket back here. And let's see how we can add some color. So I'm going to start with Night of Navy for my background, and I took this piece of designer series paper and I ran it through my Big Boss, and I used this painted texture. This is kind of mimicking, let me get it like this so you can probably see it better. This is mimicking the, this looks like palette knife art. So if you're familiar with the paint that has that really thick, that you apply with a palette knife, that's the look here. Well, I've doubled it by running this through the embossing folder and giving it some texture as well. Susan, I'm so glad you're here. So the one thing I forgot to get was my adhesive. So I'm going to need this and this and this and this. Okay. So let's go ahead and put our designer series paper down. Now you could, I don't have an embossing folder over here. Ay, candy. You could just use cardstock that's been run through an embossing folder, but I do think in this particular card that a little bit of texture goes a long way. And this was already kind of done for me, so it would actually look really good even with this side. So yeah, a lot of cool papers in this In Good Taste. Many of us demonstrators, we are on pins and needles because tomorrow we get to see the PDF of the new annual catalog, which will come out in May. So we are on, the edge of our seat waiting to see what's going to happen because, of course, we want to see what made it, what didn't, all the new stuff. And so that's one of the really big perks of being a demonstrator is we get early sneak peeks. We get to see stuff way ahead of the time it goes live. And on top of that, we also, let me grab a block. We also get to do pre-order beginning April the 1st. So I'm just going to put a little bit of color here. So let me show you. I said we were going to play with color today. I've used a piece of shimmery white cardstock, because I am going to add a little bit of water here. Now, this is one of our, what do you call them? Water painters. And I'm just going to put a little bit of this balmy blue here because I want to create a little bit of sky. I don't want it to be too dark. And I'm going to fill in the majority of this piece of white with dyes, stamps, dyes, all kinds of fun stuff. So I really just want a little bit of color here. I'm not going to worry about that little splodge because it's going to end up being covered up. So just kind of a light little wash of balmy blue. Now let me show you why I chose balmy blue, because it is the blue that goes really nicely with Night of Navy. So let me just show you where I'm going here. So that is going to look really good for me. Okay, I can put this away. Hey, Betty, I'm glad you are coming to me from Edmonton. Welcome, welcome. I'm not going to use the balmy blue again, so we can put that away. Okay, now let's build a little bit. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some grass here. And this is kind of fun. I got inspired by one of our artisan design team members. And I'm going to use shaded spruce and granny apple green. I'm using the dark of each. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of, this is, what's it called? Frayed ribbon. This is in our spring catalog. And I think it looks really good with, this is the shimmery white cardstock. Let me show you how shimmery white is just a little bit of what we used to call eggshell when I was growing up. So if you did sewing back in the day, I know people still sew, but I grew up with a mother who sewed everything, including my winter coats, my underwear, everything. She was an amazing seamstress. But you see how this is just ever so slightly off-white, but it has that beautiful shimmer and sparkle in it, and it really holds water well. Well, if you look at this, this is also, you see how it's called white frayed ribbon, but it's a little bit more of an eggshell color. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to color it. So let me just put this underneath me because I need something that's going to catch the ink. I do have a laminated mat here. One of my assistants laminated this really pretty piece of grid paper for me. And it's actually really useful, especially when you're doing watercoloring stuff, but even anything, because you can just wipe it off. Now, anytime you're coloring ribbon, you want to use the brush tip and you want to use it on its side. So I'm just going to color this ribbon. I'm not going to worry about getting it exact because I'm going to use a second shade of green to give me some variation. And you can see this is frayed ribbon is what they call it. It's kind of a grosgrain, so it has a lot of texture. Now I'm going to take my shaded spruce, and this is what's going to give me a lot of this real variegated look. And that's what I'm wanting. I don't want just a solid color. I want a variegated look. So now what I'm going to do, might be a little bit wet, but we'll go with it anyway. I want kind of a realistic look with that variegation. So that's why that's there. Now I'm going to take a pair of ribbon scissors. Now, you know, this is a pair that Stampin' Up! Used to have. I just keep hoping they're going to bring these back or something like it. But I like a pair of ribbon scissors. For me, I need a pair that's long. And I'm cutting off the edge here. This is a selvage edge, and this is what keeps it from raveling. But I want to ravel it. So I'm cutting it down a wee bit. And then I'm also going to come along here, and I'm going to pull some of these pieces, and I'm going to ravel it. And this is what's going to give me a little bit of grass. So I want to pull quite a few of these. I haven't done this in ages. I used to do this a lot. Certain ribbons work really well with this, and it just is fun. Like I said, I grew up with a mom that sewed everything. I sewed everything when my kids were small, when my first two were small. And once I had that third one, I was like, by then I was homeschooling the others, and I was like, wow, this is this is taking up too much time. So my sewing kind of went on the back burner. Okay, so that is going to give me some nice grass. And I do have, because I've frayed it, some of these little grassy bits here are not as dark as I would like them to be because I've pulled some of the ink away. Well, I didn't pull the ink away. I pulled the ribbon away. So let's just go back over it, give it a little bit more. And that is going to be my grass. So let's come back over here to this piece of, you see where I'm going now. This is my piece of shimmery white. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this down. I could use a couple of different things. I could use tear and tape. I could use glue dots. I could use, yeah, let me just use tear and tape. I think that might be my best bet. I think that's going to be the quickest and easiest. So I want to run this all the way across. And you want to stick that down really good. I do like to make sure that it's really, really there. And then you could use your pick a tool to help pick this up. Or if you have fingernails, you can use them to release that. And now I'm just going to lay this right over there. And I do want that little bit of stitching. I ran this through my Big Boss with a stitched rectangle die, and I want to leave that there. So now I'm just going to come here and snip the edges off, and I'm just building a nice little garden scene. So now I have my sky, and there I have my grass. So we are adding color to that ribbon, and I think it really looks cool. It's super fun to do. Okay. And again, I've already started your project sheet, your inspiration sheet. So this is the dark shaded spruce and dark granny apple green. So let's just look how things are beginning to build here. And I did choose to put Night of Navy back here because I wanted some real contrast. I started to put it on white or on smoky slate, on something on Balmy Blue, on Misty Moonlight, and I settled on Night of Navy because I wanted it to be really, really dark because I wanted that high contrast. Now, I've already stamped and cut out my watering can. This is just Smoky Slate. Now, I have done everything on the Shimmery white because, again, this is not a true white. It's an eggshell. So if you stamp and cut these on white, to me, they look like they don't quite fit. Now, I've done several pieces here, but we're going to add some more color. We're not done adding color yet. So let's come back in and let's see what we can do with our water paint marker. Water painter. Lord have mercy. I even had a nice cup of tea before I started because I thought, I think I need a little bit of a brain break to help me focus. And then here I am. Now I'm taking these same greens that I used on the grass, and let me just show you what I'm going to do. I've stamped and cut out 2 of the flower leaves and stems. And this one actually was on a scrap, so I didn't even do the whole thing. But that's okay, because I'm going to cut some of these away. And then I did these in garden green. Now I'm going to come along here, and I'm going to add a little bit of these other greens. You see how there's quite a bit of white space here? And that's just like a perfect invitation to add a little bit more color. So again, I'm going to take my clear block. I'm just going to dab it right on my Granny Apple Green and on my Shaded Spruce. Now, again, I have these on a little piece of paper towel, and that is going to help in case I get a little bit too much water going. But I'm hoping that I don't anyway, because I really just want to use a little bit of water. Just want to get, a lot of times you can just put this on your hand, and that shows you better than when you put it on your paper towel. Now, let me start with a little bit of this Shaded Spruce, and I'm just going to fill in some of these white spaces, just a little bit of this Shaded Spruce. And again, I stamped this in not Granny Apple Green. I stamped it in Garden Green. Now I'm coming over here with Shaded Spruce, and I'm just filling in some of these white spaces. You see how that gives me that variegated look? Actually just looks more realistic. Now I'm only going to use a couple of these stems here, so I'm not even going to bother with that. Now I'm going to come in, oh sorry, that was Granny Apple Green. Now I'm going to come in with Shaded Spruce. Whew, that is dark, dark. And I'm just going to touch these stems and give them a little bit more color. And again, this stamp set, Flowering Rain Boots, is a distinctive stamp set. And you wouldn't think about, watercoloring, but why not? Why not watercolor even a distinct stamp set? Distinctive. So I'm going to come here with a little tiny bit of this Shaded Spruce. I mean, it's really, really dark, so I'm only going to use a tiny, tiny bit. But you see how that bluey green kind of helps make everything pop? Now, the nice thing is, you see how I have this paper towel here? All I have to do is boom, done. Now, I will put that on I'll run that on my chamois as well. But then that's pretty clean. And that is pretty clean, and that just makes life simple. Now, what I'm going to do is I build this little scene. Those are going to go underneath some flowers. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to split these flowers up. You see how there are two little sets of stems? So I'm going to split one of these flowers. So let's start by putting the watering can down first. And what I'm going to do is add a couple of dimensionals behind it. And I'm only going to put a couple because I want room to slide some of my flowers underneath. Oh, I'm glad you like the shading. You know, I think that there's just so many possibilities we have with our stamp sets. And this one just really, I think, lends itself to a lot of fun things. Now, I am going to snip these two little flower heads, these little tulips. I'm going to snip those away because they are going to go on my extra little set of stems. So this is just going to go under here like so. And I only have to put a little bit of adhesive on there and they will be ready to go. Like so. And these are done in Melon Mambo. I've already cut them out. So they're kind of coming out of my watering can. Again, this is on dimensionals. These are flat. And then I'm going to take these and I'm going to tuck them into the grass. Isn't that fun? You see how now all these variegated, all these 3 shades of green really start coming into their own. So let me put just enough adhesive to anchor it. And then I'm going to maybe tuck that underneath the watering can like so. And then I'm going to take, you remember I had another pair? Because I want to pop those in there as well. And then I've got more room for more tulips. So just a little bit of seal. Pop that right under my grass there. And that's coming along ever so nicely. Now, these are done in Blushing Bride. These are done in Melon Mambo. But wait, there's more. We're going to add a little bit of Melon Mambo to these pale tulips, just like we did with the grass. So let's just see. You see all that white space there? That's just kind of begging to add a little bit of color. So let's open up the Melon Mambo ink pad. You can see I used that as a paint palette already, but we'll just use our clear block because that makes life really simple. I remember with our old ink pads how we used to oftentimes make a paint palette with them. But honestly, it's a whole lot easier if you just use your clear block. Now again, I want to make sure that my pen is clear from all the green ink. This is my water painter, and it will, you know, your water painters, just like your blender pens, the tip will stain, but it's coming clear. So that's just a little bit of stain on there. The colors that I used for the grass, Simone, are the dark shaded spruce and the dark granny apple green. So thank you for your questions. Those help me to help you. Okay, so I'm going to pick up just a tiny bit of this Melon Mambo. I don't want too much because this is really pale. Did I get a little bit of green in there? I think I did. Here I am talking about how this needs to be not the look I wanted. That's okay. We're going to blend it out. We are going to blend that out. Okay. Well, let's see. We're going to probably put a rhinestone on that or something. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Let's put just a tiny bit of Melon Mambo. You know, I think that it seems like it's still coming out with a little bit of green. Lord have mercy. I keep squeezing the water out and it's still coming. Okay, let's see. Haha, now it's coming. A lot more than I wanted it to. We may scrap this and start over. This is way too much color. Let's see if we can just blend this out. Yeah, that's kind of making a right mess. Okay, that did not go as planned. So what we are going to do is, I think I have another set over here. And I am going to grab them. Let's see. Here we go. This is why you practice first. See how it came out much better on my practice. So let's go ahead and snip this apart. I don't really quite know what I did wrong there. Well, I think that wasn't running quite as clear as I thought it was, and I got too much of a good thing on the ink. So that was my total mess up. You know, I'm going to live dangerously. Let's add just a wee bit of color here, because these are a little bit lighter than I'm wanting. Okay, let's try again. And this time, just to save time, I'm going to grab a little bit of ink right out of here, and I'm going to add, so you can see what I mean. See how you just take that white and just blend that out just a wee bit? There we go. Now we're getting that pale version of Melon Mambo right over the top of that Blushing Bride, just to give it a little bit more color, just a little bit more. I think it adds a lot of depth to this, and that's really what I'm wanting. A lot of really cool variation of color. Okay, that's a little better. Definitely better than the one I really messed up on. Okay, so now I'm ready to tuck these little guys in. Oh, this is not the one I meant to pull apart. Well, Candy's just up to all kinds of silliness today. Let's see, here we go. So now we are going to tuck these little guys right under here. Yeah, because I did. But you know what I can do there? Because I cut those off, I can actually put those up on dimensionals, and that's going to be kind of fun. And then I can put these on dimensionals, or maybe I'll do it. Oh, I like that even better. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of these mini dimensionals. So I did this flat, and these flowers, these tulips are flat, but this particular set of tulips, we're going to pop up because this is on dimensionals, and this is where we want to have variations of depth so that some things are popped up and some things are not. Look at there. Look how those are peeking out behind that little rain, that little, flowering, watering can. Okay, here we go. We are almost there. Almost there. So we've made a fun scene, and we've added a lot of color. We've used a lot of different ink pads, but you know what? That's part of what we love doing. We've added all these colors and ink pads, and look at there. Oh, I like that. Now I'm going to pop this whole piece up on dimensionals, and I do have a little greeting that I'm going to add, and I have cut this out, or not cut, I've just stamped it in Night of Navy, picking up this navy blue here. And I don't do this a lot, but I do like these fussy cut words. Sometimes they just work. And if there's not too much fussy cutting to it, then I think it will be nice, because I have so much here. I don't want to put a big tag across there and cover up my scene. So I'm going to cut fairly close to these words and just have a minimum of space taken up. But I do want to put this greeting on this. Live life in full bloom. Isn't that lovely? I like that a lot. Now I'm going to bring this in just a little bit more here and here. The key with this is to move your cardstock and not your snips. And of course you want to use the Stampin' Up! Paper snips are unrivaled. They really are. I mean, your Stampin' Up! Paper snips, they're like $10, the best $10 you'll ever spend. Let's see, a lot of places I could put this. I think it's going to go over here. Okay, let's put this up on dimensionals, and we are just about there. What do y'all think? We've added a lot of color, a lot of fun places that we've added color, and this is just a fun card to make. I'm also going to bring in, this is what you get with my class, my Flowering Rain Boots class. you get a package of these epoxy essentials. These are annual catalog, and I think they're a hidden gem because you get raindrops and diamonds and circles. So these are just super fun to use. And look at that. Oh, okay. Okay, Candy's excited. Here we go. So Betty, I'm glad you are liking this and seeing how we can shade things. Because look at how, because I added some color to these tulips, you see how they're more solid where these are more white with the melon mambo, and that is just what I was wanting. Just a lot of variation and yeah, even variegation, I guess, is kind of the look I was going for. Because, you know, for the most part, when we are in a garden, there's a lot of shades and, you know, things aren't just one solid color. Lots of shades, and then on top of that, the shades that are in the actual plants. Then you have the shades that come in because of the way the sunlight is hitting it. So now let's pop this on. Let's put these little guys on. I want a couple of these little, I will say they stick really, really well. I'm going to put them right on the watering can there, coming out. And then I'm going to put another one on the leaf right there. And then I'm going to put one more. Oh, Susan, I'm so glad that this is hitting your inspiration. Yeah, sometimes we just need to change things up a little bit. And, you know, when this is not a class card. This is a card that, you know, you're going to spend a little bit of time making. And you see how they're really subtle because they're clear, but they pick up the light ever so nicely. Now I'm going to pop this on. Since this is up on dimensionals and this is up on dimensionals, I am going, oh, look, I like it down there in the grass. I'm going to just pop that on there and not put a dimensional on it. So I have variations in height along with variations in color. And that is just what I'm wanting. Now I do have a basic white panel to put on the inside. Now notice how much texture. You know, a lot of times we add ribbon to a card, but I've already got that ribbon right here. And I've got all that texture coming through there. And then I've got these little clear guys with just a little bit of water coming through there. And then when you get it in the light, it also has just a really, really delicate shimmer that's coming through from the fact that I used shimmery white cardstock. So let's see what we're going to put on the inside here. I think I'm probably just going to put the watering can. And I've probably put all my stamps away because I was trying to be tidy. This is what I used for, you know, to use just a little finish on this edge here, especially when you're doing a really nice, this is definitely a stepped up card. This is not just a basic card. This is a stepped up card. And instead of just cutting the white, using this is one of those that I think everybody should have in their stash. If you don't have these stitched rectangles yet, I would urge you to get them. You see how they just give a finished edge. They're also really good on masculine cards when you want that finished edge, but you don't want like scallops or, you know, laciness or anything like that. So they're super, super versatile. They're only $35. Now, I will just put one more plug in here, actually first one today. This is my host code, and my Pot of Gold ordering special ends today. This is the last day. With a $50 order, you get 10 cards from my stash, and then you also get a package of that bedazzled gold paper, and it's super fun to work with. So it sold out when it ran in Celebration last year, but I tucked some aside for you guys thinking, I bet people would like to have that at some point. So let me grab where did I put the stamp set? Let's see. Okay, Candy. I'm trying to stamp the inside. Where did I put it? I showed it to you, and I tidied up. And where did I put it? The bundle is somewhere. Let's see. Here are my cards for class. Let me put these away while I'm chatting here so that they're where they belong. And Jackie, I'm glad you like my Just Add Color card today. So playing with color, I guess, is what I would, yeah, you see, these tulips are really fun to work with. Well, I think I'm going to stamp the inside of this card, but maybe I'm not, because maybe I can't find, this is the ribbon you get with my class. Okay, Candy, where is it? Where is the bundle? I put it somewhere. I know you guys are probably laughing at me. And you know, I don't normally use tons of stamp pads. But again, I tend to think about classes because I do a lot of classes. This isn't even everything that I used. This is the ones that I used on camera. I also used Smoky Slate and Blushing Bride. So lots and lots of colors on this. Okay, thank you for your patience, ladies. I am looking for my bundle and not finding it. Well, you know what? It's going to be, I'll show you. I'll find it when I'm tidying up, and when I take my pictures, I will share it with you. So again, this is my playing with color and using the lovely, lovely Flowering Rain Boots bundle. It's really fun to use, really fun to use. And this gives you, you know, if you take my class, you get 8 cards, 8 different ideas using this stamp set. If you get just the PDF tutorial, it's $15. And, but this gives you another whole idea. So yeah, Dudley, you can lose stuff just from turning away. I hear you. It's just, it's really frustrating. But I think it's kind of a crafter's, it's very common amongst us crafters. It's like right in front of me, but I can't find it. C'est la vie. Don't forget, you want to get some of these items. Again, I will have your inspiration sheet very shortly because I've started it and I'm going to go finish it and finish my cup of tea while I'm uploading this to YouTube. But that will give you all of the colors I use. It'll give you this ribbon, these epoxy essentials, which I think really are essential. Again, that you get a sheet of clear and a sheet of silver. You can flip right past that in the catalog because they don't look very remarkable, but when you start using them, they really are. So, oh, Simone, I'm so glad you're enjoying this. And look at how that paint palette background just really, not paint palette, what's the word I'm looking for? Palette knife. And that is run through with the embossing folder. So there's texture there, texture on the stitching, texture here. Yeah, I like this card a lot. So if you're looking for a card, an extra special card to make somebody, this hits a lot of the right notes. So that's going to be it for me. And if you are watching on YouTube, I would love for you to give me a thumbs up. And if you would subscribe to my channel, that helps me so much. So I appreciate your support, and I will see you here Thursday for simple stamping. Take care, and God bless.